And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the Valley of the Judged. I am your one and only gaming monk, better known as Mildra, and with me I have two good brothers here in the temple. We have the man who might be the closest one to out interview me. good brother Jack.
Hi.
And the Omega Man, of Mons. Good brother Drum.
I'm here too.
With the dancing sprite.
Yes.
Yeah.
Watch as I dance across the floor.
So obviously last week there was the Meet the New Team, and before that there was the wrap up of Daggerheart, which means it is, as tradition, time for the in-between affair. Now, originally, my wheel that I used to determine which goes next landed on Prequel. But in the interim, one project that I had in the back burner dropped. That being Dreamwalkers. Now, originally I was going to cover Dreamwalkers when I covered Where's Blade, but that one went way too long, and we got way too much into the weeds. I don't regret it, and I'm glad to see Where's Blade getting the love that it deserves. Because this was something that was lampshaded to me quite a while ago, and anyone who is a mech fan should probably take a look at Where's Blade, especially if the RPG does well. Then maybe some of the novels tied to it will come stateside. I'm hoping.
Circumstances had other plans for you that day.
But for this one, we're going to be getting into Prequel. We will do a bit of intermission, and then we will get into Dreamwalkers. So it's going to be another one of those double features, because I didn't want to kick either one of them down the road, because that'd be about a month before we'd get to them. And in the case of Dreamwalkers, I kind of wanted to strike while the iron's hot. Now, we will be starting out with Prequel, which, full disclosure, I did back Prequel on Kickstarter, and I have interviewed the developers. Prequel, as its subtitle describes it, a tactical storytelling game of heroic sacrifice. This is a game about one particular boss fight where successive generations try and fail to take out the particular big bad of that story. But each time they fail, they bring lessons to the next generation to try it until someone succeeds. And unlike what we'll have with Dreamwalkers, this isn't a quick start or anything like that. This is the full rule set, but obviously there's going to be some stuff we're skimming. And I do enjoy it in doing this very pamphlet-like approach. And the other thing that I cannot but enjoy is, and you can't see it because I don't have on stream, because I don't have my cursor part set up, is the table of contents has hyperlinks. That is a small detail, but it's one that is always appreciated. Much like bookmarks. If you've got a full 200 or 300 page PDF and you don't have bookmarks, you are doing something very, very wrong. Doubly so if you've got a physical book and you don't have an index. And some of me saying that some of that is lingering trauma from the days of Palladium when I would run the Rifts and a few other games, and the Robotech RPG, along with the Ninja Turtles RPG. Yes, that was a thing. It was weird. It wasn't based on the cartoon. It was based on the original comic. Like I said, it was weird. But This is using the Lumen system, hence the whole illuminated by Lumen on the page. But I appreciate the pamphlet design we've got here. Like, this isn't a full 8.5 by 11. But starting out, we have part 1, the intro, which is describing kind of the basic loop. That you are the first heroes who have reached this evil that rules over the realm. But you will not survive. However, successive generations, as mentioned before, will discover the weaknesses of the evil, preserve that knowledge for the next run. But it describes itself as a tactical storytelling game for 4 to 5 players. One player assumes the role of the evil player, while the rest play as heroes in a realm besieged by the evil. So technically, this is a GM-less game.
Ooh.
But it is meant to be single session, 3 to 4 hours, so basically one-shots. You can play it as a standalone or as a precursor to a long-term campaign. And as far as what's needed, you have the sheets, index cards or sticky notes, legend cards, a 6x6 grid, a 6-sided die, tokens, a lot of these standard fare. But then we get into the rules part. First being setup. I do like that they put out how much time each of the setup steps is going to be here.
Neat.
So the first is choosing the evil, which is going to be in part 4.
Ooh.
Then describing the realm, i.e. the narrative boundaries. So the genre of the game, the scale of the game, i.e. the size of the realm, what the evil is, and also noting this is only the beginning. This is use broad strokes and sweeping generalizations for now, limiting clarifying questions. Details such as notable locations, major organizations, important figures, and significant events will be recalled during the final fight. The things introduced should be atypical of what one would generally consider part of a genre. For instance, there is no need to add wizards to the yes area, but adding wizards to the no area would be appropriate, as that would be an exception to the general understanding of fantasy. Similarly, you don't need to add airplanes to the no area, but it would be worth adding to the yes area. It's basically going that if it is what's going to be naturally assumed with fantasy, you don't need to specifically state yes or no with it. And this is common with GM-less games where you have this group conversation setting the stage, as it were. Mystic Empyrean, which I covered about 9 years ago, had a similar thing going on, where you had this round robin where everybody was adding details to the setting concept. So you start with a broad concept and then you go gradually more specific.
Oh, okay. So like you're crafting your flavor of fantasy, whereas like Lord of the Rings sure has magic and wizards, but comparing that to like we'll say like a normal D&D setting, its magic is there's in D&D you can sling magic like it's nobody's business, but in like Lord of the Rings, magic is a bit more reserved and not quite as easy to cast
Mhm.
and utilize. So like
I
you're essentially building your own level of how fantasy do we want this?
yeah,
Okay.
and it's funny you mentioned D&D because I think I hinted at this before about the
Mm-hmm.
whole setting not setting kind of thing. The
Yep.
big reason that I make a big deal out of that is you can have multiple fantasy settings and have them use magic completely differently.
Mm-hmm.
Like you brought up Lord of the Rings and D&D, but I'll use
That's just
I'll,
what I know,
yeah,
though.
I'll use Mistborn as an example. Mistborn
Sure.
has magic, but
Mm-hmm.
its particular brand of magic is completely different to those other two, to the point where trying to put it in D&D would result in more problems than it solves.
Okay.
Uh, there's a bunch of reasons why, but I'm not going to go too much into detail on the style of magic in Mistborn, which is known as allomancy,
Mm-hmm.
but it involves ingesting and burning metals.
Oh, that's interesting.
And the spells that you can basically use depend on the type of metal that you burn.
Cool.
And
Okay.
most people are only able to do one of them.
There.
Uh, Sanderson's very good with creating unique magic systems in his books. But then again, Sanderson is a machine who has a crazy output, still manages to teach writing at Brigham Young, and do Magic the Gathering games with his students on the weekends.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay. But going back to prequel,
mhm.
looking at it again, and it's like, okay, basically, if this had a slider of things, you essentially just move the sliders like you're designing a fucking Dark Souls character. How much on this side? How much on that side?
Yep.
And then just it's very customizable. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
Neat. Very neat.
Step 3 is your hero's origin and calling. Origin is who they were before the evil's emergence and defines the burden that they hope to alleviate once the evil is defeated. Calling represents the experience and techniques they've learned to combat the evil.
Mhm.
You could kind of think of origin as akin to background and calling as akin to class.
Okay.
You're essentially combining two sheets together with this approach. You have a origin sheet and a calling sheet.
Okay.
Each one has the origin sheet will have the hero's burden. The calling sheet will have the hero's powers.
Ooh.
After that, you determine the starting approaches according to origin and calling. Approaches are a broad case of attributes. They're more about how you what approaches to tackling a situation you're more adept at.
Hmm.
As opposed to just describing your physical attributes, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
It's more about the types of the methods that you prefer when dealing with a problem.
Right.
Then going into the details, which is just the fill in the blanks. Then step 4 is setting up the quest. This would be the play area for the final fight and quest. You have 3 separate areas next to the combat grid itself. One for individuals, one for factions, and one for locations. These are referred to as components. Each player introduces their hero and answers the setup prompts of their origin and calling. As you answer these setup prompts, you write the name of the required component on an index card and place it in the corresponding area. The player then writes the name of their hero on an index card and places it in the area for individuals. Finally, the player places their hero's token on any open space on the grid. And we have a separate area, which is this bottom one, for events. The first event being the evil emerges, which is put on the leftmost side, and is the first setup prompt for the chosen evil. The one on the other end is the final fight. You're essentially creating a timeline for the quest.
Oh.
The event for that is filled in by whoever's playing the evil.
Right.
You also distribute 2 legend cards to each hero player. Players can look at their own legends, but can't share them. And any remaining ones are placed in a stack face down. So you can kind of think of legend as equivalent to, say, the secret technique trope in certain anime.
Oh, okay.
Of some sort of advantage that you have that you're saving for the rainiest of days.
It's a trump card, basically.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. And final step is introducing the final fight. Basically letting the evil review the heroes, components, and events, then setting the stage for the final fight, narrating the heroes confronting the evil in their lair in dramatic fashion. This would be an excellent opportunity for the evil to monologue. I like that they put that in. You caught me monologuing.
Now you die.
But then we get to playing the game, which is done in 2 parts simultaneously. One is tactical combat, where you're taking on the evil in the final fight. The other is collaborative storytelling, where you recall the quest from when the evil emerged to when the heroes begin the final fight. This is done by creating aspects of a shared world and building a timeline of events. With gameplay progressing in 4 chapters. Each part of the evil's rule. So the chapters are Rise, Recovery, Rebellion, and Reign. And it kind of goes. You could kind of look at the 4 chapters as 4 acts in a 4-act structure. I know a lot of people might go, don't stories usually have 3 acts? There is a concept in a lot of media across Asia that, and I only know the Japanese version of it, called Kisho Tenketsu.
Mm-hmm.
This is a 4-act structure that's used in a lot of things. I've seen it used in stories. I've seen it used in level design. Miyamoto outright said he used it for some of the level designs for certain Mario games. And I've even seen it used in copy editing. It is also used in, like, 4 Comas, if you're familiar with that comic format. But it goes introduction, development, twist, conclusion.
Okay.
Now, this isn't a 1-to-1 of that, but there are some similar beats. You have the Rise part, where the goal is to try and defeat the evil, or so the heroes think.
Mm-hmm.
Then to connect and plant the seeds for their legacies. Then for the heroes to preserve the evil's weaknesses. And then to make the most of this sacrifice before perishing. And throughout it, players are asked to recall the quest at the end of each of their turns. This is where you're bringing up events that are made of the components, in individuals, factions, and locations. So you have the combat side and you have the storytelling side, basically operating simultaneously with each other.
Right.
And then we do have a bit more detail on what a event is when you recall it. And you're encouraged to write a one-sentence description of the event on, say, an index card. And then place it in the timeline area, either to the right or left of an existing event card. But then we have the approaches. This is kind of what I mentioned earlier, where they're kind of like core ability scores, but not quite. The 3 types of approaches are bravery, haste, and guile. So essentially, might, will, and skill if you played the original Fable, and only the original Fable because that's the only one worth playing.
It's the only one I ever remember.
Look, I'd roast Peter Molyneux, but Guru Larry's been doing that did that in every video he did for years.
Understandable.
Even videos that didn't have anything to do with Peter Molyneux's work, he would find some way to take a shot at him. But...
Oh, man.
Did you hit it on something?
Yeah. I'm okay, though.
Alright. But there's also powers, which you have access to based on origin and calling. You have the effect of the power, and also its prompts to recall quests. Prompts are always written in italic.
Right.
And this is in 3 types. Core powers, which can be used at Chapter 1. Reveal powers, which can only be used at Chapter 3 and 4. And are used to seek out weaknesses. And legacy powers, which also can only be used once you're in Chapter 4, and represent the closing of the story. Each hero has 2 legacy powers, but only one can be used per hero during the game. It lets them perform a great feat or preserve a weakness. Basically, legacy powers are very powerful, but using it is your going out in a blaze of glory moment.
Right.
What was referred to in a previous game I covered, Heavens and Heresies, as raising the death flag. Which allowed you to use a very powerful set of abilities, but after that encounter is done and you've activated it, you die.
You die. Okay. You're Vegeta when he blows himself up against Boo, basically.
Pretty much. And we also have legends and upgrades. Completing legends are kind of an achievement system that illustrate events and components working together for a narrative arc. Which kind of hints why legends are treated as a trump card that you keep secret from the other players and from whoever's playing the evil.
Yeah, you can't let your opponent know your entire hand before you're ready. I've got a trick up my sleeve.
You activated my trap card.
Exactly.
But obviously then we have rounds and turns, which works the way you would expect. During a hero's turn, you can take 2 actions, either a move or a power. You can do 2 moves, you can do 2 powers, but you can't do the same power twice.
Okay.
You can, and I should note with the approaches, you can spend them to give yourself a bonus known as a maneuver. But if a power was used, you recall the quest using that power's prompt. If a hero or evil uses 2 powers in a single turn, they only need to recall the quest once, using one or both powers as their prompts.
Oh, you know what? You know what this makes me think of?
What?
It's like it's like an anime fight, and as they're fighting, it does that thing that animes do, where they, in the middle of a fight, they flash back to a time of relevancy to what's going on.
I feel like that was very much the intent here, even if it's
Because that's definitely what I'm getting from this. I'm like, oh, that's what it is. Okay, now it's making more sense.
So basically, this plot could be substituted with Naruto, essentially.
And exactly what I was thinking of too.
Yeah. Oh.
Wait a second. Peels back the mask. It's just Naruto 5e.
I will get to Naruto 5e one of these days. I just.
Oh, but anyways.
Holy crap! I said something.
Oh my god.
But on the evil's turn, they can also do the move and power action, as well as activating a minion. Minions are, well, minions. I don't need to. They're the equivalent of ads in a in an MMO raid fight. Though when chapters end, you destroy all minions. And at the end of each round, the evil activates a shift, which is a persistent effect meant to shake up the battlefield. They're the opportunity to introduce a twist, an obstacle, a new threat, or any other challenge. You can activate any shift available to the evil for the current chapter or any chapter preceding it. I suppose I'd liken shifts to the phase changes that you see in boss fights in most Souls-likes.
Mm-hmm.
No, where once that shift happens, the moveset and sometimes the environment changes.
Yeah.
And usually that's when you end up dying the first time because they pull something you weren't prepared for.
Why is there another health bar?
Yep. But regardless, movement is on a 6x6 grid. The entire fight is on a 6x6 grid. And there is no diagonal movement.
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense, though.
Yep, you can't have 2 characters occupying the same space. If the evil moves to a space occupied by a hero, the hero is moved to an adjacent open one. If there isn't one, they're moved to the nearest open space and take 1 harm.
Oof.
Okay,
so like if I push him literally into the top leftmost square, they have to basically sloop past my token to like something behind me on either sides.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, you're forcing them to clip.
Mm-hmm.
Clip through, yeah. Okay.
Harm is subtracted from health. When your health reaches 0, you are killed and removed from the fight. No death saves for you.
Man, it's just like 1A.
The player controlling the hero can still participate by suggesting ideas while another player is recalling their quest. So you're not completely out of it if you're dead.
Yeah. You're just the voice in the back of your party's head. It's like, guys, I could have said this to you at some point to be relevant. Don't Don't forget what I said.
Yep. But the next few pages are a more detailed version of the 4 chapters that we talked about earlier.
Right.
Chapter 1, Rise, is all about the initial parts of the combat. Chapter 2 is a catching your breath moment after you think you've taken out the evil. But you know how it is. You don't taunt the monster, because if you've seen any horror movie in the last 50 years, the monster always comes back.
Oh, yeah.
Chapter 3, Rebellion, is where the evil's true form is revealed, and then the fight continues. Something, this is not my final form. But instead of doing harm to the evil in Chapter 3, you are ticking a weakness clock, which resets at the beginning of each round. This represents the evil's flaws.
Oh.
Once the clock is filled out, one of the evil's weaknesses is revealed. Of course, things will reset back to Chapter 1 if all the heroes died, and you're going with the next generation trying again.
Oh, okay. All right. So I think I'm starting to see this.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, it's an ever scaling meter that keeps going back and forth. So like fills up from 1 to 2 to 3, but if you die, go back to 1. Okay, all right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing how it works now.
Oh yeah. Now, when you try to seek a weakness, which is a reveal power, you roll a d6. If the result is equal to or less than the number of ticks on the weakness clock, a weakness is revealed. The evil player selects which weakness is revealed from the evil's stat block. The player who revealed the weakness decides the details of it and how it was revealed as a result of the reveal power.
Ah, okay.
So, technically speaking, you could have that thing at one and try and reveal, but you'll have that's odds of 1 in 6. But after a weakness is revealed, you can use a legacy power to preserve a weakness, which is an automatic success, but you die. Then chapter 4 is Rain, where the evil
It's
gets...
like
What?
It's like JoJo Part 3, where Kakyoin, in his last moment, shot the fucking bell tower to signify, it's time! His power is time! And then Joseph and Jotaro had figured it out afterwards.
Oh, yeah. But with Chapter 4, the evil gains 1 new power and 1 new shift to use in addition to the previous ones. And 2 legends are distributed to each hero. There's no weakness clock in this part. Instead, track all harm dealt to the evil before the heroes perish. The total harm dealt in this chapter determines how quickly the evil will recover from the final fight.
Okay.
And then you'd go into concluding the game.
Oh.
But part 3 goes into the heroes proper, which is their starting approaches, setup prompt, burden, powers, and upgrades. This is essentially a not far removed from a play sheet that you would see in Powered by the Apocalypse. So you can kind of see how the origins sheet is set up.
Interesting.
And again, it's meant to be this left side, right side approach, which is indicated by that little half shield there.
Right.
and a couple of spots for upgrades, as well as the legend at the bottom. But the origins we have are crooked, devout, noble, reluctant, and vengeful. And then you have the other half of it, which is the calling, which has its own approaches, its maximum health, the setup prompt, powers, and upgrades. And this is where you would actually put in the stats for bravery, haste, guile, and health. So we have the bulwark, the sharpshooter, the songsmith, the spellshaper, who has an additional page because spellshaper is our mage.
Right.
The swiftblade, and those are the callings. So pretty straightforward there. And again, I like the whole half and half shield thing that they have on the sheet.
Yeah, no, I see it. It's supposed to connect with the other side. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I like it a lot.
And the bulk of the powers are on the calling end of things, rather than origin.
Yeah.
So, comparing this to a playsheet in Powered by the Apocalypse is apt, but this is significantly simpler. But then we have the stat blocks for the evil, which consists of the at-a-glance look, i.e. the general combat strategy of it, the setup prompts for when setting up the timeline, their health, self-explanatory, movement, their move action that they can take in lieu of the starting move action, the action they take before Chapter 1 begins, their powers, the shift powers, and weaknesses. So the ones we have are the Cataclysm, which is essentially a monster that's a force of nature.
Mm-hmm.
The Fiend. I don't think I need to further define what the Fiend is supposed to be.
Big ass devil man.
Yep. The Horror, which feels like it should be the kind of thing that results in rolling sand. The Slayer, which seems the vibe that the Slayer seems to go with is some sort of fallen paladin or blackguard or the like.
Kratos comes to mind for that.
Mm-hmm. It says, choose a Slayer if you want to tell a story about broken faith, murdered gods, or spirits and retribution, those who would see the world's faith turn to ash, or explore your hero's faith in something, each other, or the divine. And then we have the concluding of the game. With the heroes fallen, it'll be up to future generations to stand against the evil. The chances of finally defeating the evil depend on how successfully your heroes are able to use their legacy powers to preserve the evil's weaknesses. So if you preserve 0 weaknesses, history repeats itself. 1 weakness, future heroes have 1 opportunity to fully defeat the evil. 2 weaknesses, even if the evil has time to protect against 1 weakness, they will have to split their resources or need extra time to prepare against the second. And 3 weaknesses, your sacrifices have paved the way to future victories. Future heroes will likely uncover 1 weakness and weaponize it to defeat the evil. And any harm dealt in Chapter 4 determines the state of the evil, the realm, and any additional legacies left behind by the heroes. And we have a nice little chart about harm dealt, which shows kind of the after effects after the party has wiped, essentially.
Right.
Like, a low amount of harm in Chapter 4, the evil recovers quickly. A high amount, the heroes and the evil pass into myth. When the evil returns, the realm is healed and prepared. And I do like this little nod with regression mode of not satisfied with the outcome of your final fight. Players can choose to send one hero back to the past to try again. Return to the hero's death and have their player narrate the forces that send them back to the past. The hero maintains all upgrades and approaches. If the hero has less than their starting approaches, restore them. Follow concluding the game as normal, each player preserving components. These are kept in their timeline. All other heroes components and events are erased and can never be recreated. If they didn't get in legal trouble for it, they could have called this Samurai Jack mode.
Ow. That's funny. Gotta get back to the past.
Mm-hmm. And this next part here, campaign conversion, I'm actually glad is in the book, because while you may not need these are a good way to push the party into a direction to take.
Yeah, help push the narrative.
Yeah. Essentially prompts. With adventure hooks tailored to each of the evils that we mentioned earlier.
Right.
And then we have Legends, which has a component, and then the chapter benefits. So chapter 1 and 2, and then 3. Or not benefits, the achievements that I mentioned previously.
Mm-hmm.
And these also can kind of create their own storytelling prompts in and of themselves. And of course, completing a legend grants a upgrade that you can apply to either Origin or Calling. And there's quite a few, including a cameo of Doctor Strange. Come to bargain.
Nice.
And a couple and 4 blank ones if you want to make a legend yourself. And that more or less covers Prequel. It is an unorthodox game, which is why I picked it.
No, yeah, this is definitely something different than pretty much anything I've ever come across.
Mm-hmm. Personally, I think Prequel is going to live and die on how well the party is able to collab when it comes to those narrative prompts.
Not to say that there's any best game, but like if you're playing with a party of people who are good with roleplay, then you could come up with something crazy. But if you're playing with people who are more for the combat side of TTRPGs, surely they can come up with something, but probably not as I don't know how to put it.
Mm-hmm.
Not as horror as you'd probably expect.
Yeah.
I will say that this is totally different from any TTRPG I've ever seen before, but perhaps not in the sense that you guys mean it.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Because I know nothing about TTRPG.
Take a couple friends and play make believe with some paper and dice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is the essence of TTRPG.
Mm-hmm. I have my own little definition that I wrote in the Legend Edition project, but that's neither here nor there. The point is that despite what a lot of people think you need for a TTRPG, you really don't.
Right.
Like a lot of people will claim, oh, you need dice, you need miniatures and all that. Depending on the game, you don't need any of that. There are games that don't use dice at all. There are games that go full theater of the mind. TTRPGs are really a blank canvas for a table to explore with. And because of that, they can be anything and everything.
Yeah.
But I will also note, I honestly have a hard time seeing this game played on virtual tabletop.
Yeah, this definitely feels like it would work better in person because of the whole writing shit on note cards or sticky notes.
Mm-hmm.
This game definitely wants you to play with people in person at your kitchen table, basically.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, for a poor bastard like myself, that may be hard.
Mm-hmm.
So all my friends are like in different states.
I'm
sure it's doable.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But preferred probably in person anyway.
Maybe you could make this work in Tabletop Simulator, but it's not going to be easy.
Oh yeah, true. Forgot that existed. Somehow.
But in something like Roll20 or Foundry or Fantasy Grounds, for those who have way too much disposable income,
yeah,
I have a hard time. I'm not saying it couldn't be done. It's just not going to be as elegant as doing this in person.
Yeah. The next best thing being like Tabletop Simulator, or hell, even like VR chat, because with how like customizable that shit is, you could basically simulate in-person games. I've thought about doing that just because like I'd made some friends who'd I'd played like a session or two of VR chat just to check it out for like a collab and whatnot, and I'm like, damn, you can do so much shit in here. And that got me the idea, because my weekly games for D&D, I use D&D Beyond, but like I still like have that yearning for in-person tabletop with figurines, because I love D&D miniatures. And then I thought one day, I think, what if I tried to like make my personal kind of room in VR chat? I have yet to actually try that, but that's something on my to-do list at some point to give it a try, because if I can make that work, I'm going to definitely do that for other games too. So yeah. But you're not going to be able to do this on like fucking D&D Beyond or something.
No, you're
Definitely not.
Maybe you could do it on with official virtual tabletop. Oh wait, you can't because that thing died.
Oh, you mean Sigil?
Yeah.
God, I wish it didn't die, because I was excited for it. I wanted to see my ancient dragon statue. Oh well.
Yeah. I mentioned this last week. I wasn't going in hoping it would die. I just didn't have high hopes just because there wasn't a market for it.
Yeah. Because it was, I booted it up when I got the code for it, and it was very a little hard to navigate, kind of laggy. And
would it surprise you if I said that internally there was a disagreement over who was getting coffee?
I feel like you mentioned this last week, but I would not be surprised, quite honestly.
Yeah. At least that's what I ended up hearing. But
Jesus.
Then we have Dreamwalkers, but before we get into Dreamwalkers proper, we are going to take a break. So, for those of you who need to take the 7th inning stretch, need to use the Little Monk's room, this is your time to do so. We will be back here in 5.
Yeah. Sounds good to me.
And we are back. So our second project, Dreamwalkers, The Origin of the Worlds, which I'm glad they put in that second part, because I already have an old-ass game called Dreamwalkers in my library, which has nothing to do with this. I think that other one was made in like 2002, and this, well, wasn't. But this is obviously the quick start for the project. And before we went live, we did talk about some of the art being AI adjacent. It is mentioned on the Kickstarter that there was a mixed approach that was used by the artist. But if I'm being honest, given the subject matter, using that kind of approach makes sense. You know, this is a game about dreams. And
I won't lie to you. Some of the character art at the back is particularly telling.
Yeah.
That's kind of also what had me bring it up too.
Mm-hmm.
But like in a dream setting, okay, yeah, I get it. A lot of other people may not be maybe a bit more vocal about it, but it's like, nah.
Yeah,
This is a free thing from what we're looking at the moment. It's like, all right, sure.
Open mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will note the irony in a publisher like Achiapasogni taking this long to make a game about dreams. Their name is the Italian word for dream catcher.
Huh. That's pretty funny.
But it refers to itself as a oniric RPG.
Mm-hmm.
Which is obviously based on Oniros. Which is the personification of dreams in Greek mythology. Quoth Wikipedia. In Greek mythology, dreams were sometimes personified as Oniros, or Onirai, plural. In the Iliad of Homer, Zeus sends an Oniros to appear to Agamemnon in a dream, while in Hesiod's Theogony, the Onirai are the sons of Nyx and Hypnos. So they're the sons of Nyx, the goddess of night, and the brothers of Hypnos, the god of sleep. And there are other nods to this, whether it be the Land of Dreams, past Oceanus in the Odyssey, or the Tribe of Dreams in the Theogony poem. The other siblings are Moros, the personification of doom, Care, the personification of destiny, Thanatos, death. I already mentioned Hypnos, also Momus, the personification of blame, but also satire and mockery. Asius, which is pain or distress. Keres, which is destiny, or rather destinies. Yes, there is a personification of destiny and one of individual destinies, because Greece. Nemesis, pretty self-explanatory there, and Eris are the siblings to the Anurai. Sometimes they're referred to as black-winged dreams. It depends on which story you're looking at. But now it does note about it coming to Kickstarter. It's already on Kickstarter. fact, I think it's funded. Let me check.
Yeah, it's on Kickstart. I managed to find it.
Yeah, it is, and it's way past funded. At the time we're streaming this, they were asking for 2,000 euros. They are currently at 6.3 thousand.
That's a lot of money.
And they still got 19 days left. Apparently,
Wow.
they funded in an hour.
That's crazy.
Good for them.
Mm-hmm. But now, once again, I will note that we have two things in the PDF that I like. The table of contents has hyperlinks, and we have bookmarks on the side. So we're mostly going to focus on covering the introduction and the Dreamwalkers system. The adventure itself we are not going to be covering, because as a general rule, I don't cover adventures in this series, since there is the non-zero chance that somebody's running that adventure and might get spoiled if I cover it. But we will delve a little bit into the glossary at the end. So,
Yeah, sure thing. Home slice.
mm-hmm. Anyway, go. The player characters are Dreamwalkers, and it says, as Dreamwalkers, you will have the ability to explore dreams and nightmares, face fearsome creatures, and uncover the secrets of those around you. But beware, in the world of dreams, every emotion and memory carries weight, and even the most hidden fears can materialize. It is basically saying that emotion is reality when you're in these dreamscapes. Yeah. On the other hand, because of that, it can be manipulated. And this may be a bit of a stretch, but what instantly comes to mind is one of the core conceits with The Matrix. At least when it came to the first film.
That is, what you perceive in The Matrix becomes reality.
Mm-hmm.
Or what you're forced to perceive.
Yeah. And you remember the whole dojo scene in the first movie and what Morpheus was trying to instill?
It's been so long. I wouldn't be able to remember small details.
I know Kung Fu.
Show me. But it's more that the rules of the world around you in that place are not set. You may think it's the real world, but it's just a program. And like any program, it can be modified, recoded. The rules can be bent or broken.
You're only limited by your own imagination.
Mm-hmm. But then it goes into setting where dream is everything, where dreams are everything. Then the creation of the worlds. Where it goes that the human world and the world of dreams were created as an escape route from the ancient world. Once humans were primogens, beings who lived in the ancient world and used morphing to shape essence, living in perfect reality. This was shattered when Incubus, one of them, transformed into the first evolved nightmare and unleashed a war to force the other primogens to evolve as well. This devastated the ancient world, plunging it into chaos. The primogens tried to resist, but in the face of Incubus's power, they decided to flee. Thus they created the human world, a sort of training ground for survival, full of challenges and without the ability to use morphing. They removed from it all the essence, that substance that reacts to the dreamer's emotions and will, and confined it in the world of dreams. but the war continues to this day with two factions of Dreamwalkers, the Circle and the Order of the Innocents, vying for ultimate dominance. Meanwhile, the Secret Agency ensures that the existence of Dreamwalkers does not become public knowledge in the human world. So we have our two main factions, and we have our Comstar.
Definitely seeing some parallels to the Matrix.
Yep. And it goes into who the protagonists are, the world of Dreamwalkers. Dreams, however private, can be invaded, and even Dreamwalkers are vulnerable. If they can reach anyone, likewise they can be reached by other Dreamwalkers or by nightmares. And it also goes in that because of the fact that being in the world of dreams is as powerful as it is dangerous, Dreamwalkers organize into chains. The chain is essentially the name for your gaming party.
Oh. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's a nice new kind of flavor brought to the table.
Yep. But characters can be from any walk of life. But at night, their real potential shines as Dreamwalkers. And some examples include a student who enters teacher's dreams to discover exam answers, a elite soldier who fights nightmares for hire, a mobster who collaborates with nightmares to torment his enemies' minds, an oniric investigator who seeks secrets in others' dreams, a professor who becomes a mercenary in the dream world, and a drunkard who prefers to live as a king in his personal dream. Just as a few examples of Dreamwalker characters. And then it goes into the oniric rules, which allows management of setting changes without the need to prepare large amounts of material. Dreams can be generated on the fly by the master with descriptions starting with "Tonight, I dreamed that," and then provide a setting for changing the dreams. Apparently, the full rules will also include management of permanent dream bubbles, objects and dreams that never fade and crystallize into an oniric realm. This offers players the possibility to possess oniric artifacts or create true worlds to explore.
Yes. The last minute DM preparer's best dream.
Mm-hmm.
So me most weeks.
The greatest con I ever pulled was convincing my players that I have a plan for everything.
Exactly. No one will ever know I came up with this random bullshit just now.
Mm-hmm. Of course, sometimes I did plan for it, and I'm not going to tell them.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. But then we get into the Dreamwalker system proper. So, unlike with Prequel, which just used the D6, for this you're using the full range of dice. And the system is based on three main pillars. The first is bubble concept and character. Each character is described through bubble concepts. Bubbles represent key concepts of the character. These allow the nature of the character to be expressed with and influence the game mechanics, facilitating the character's evolution. The bubble concepts become tools of role-playing and interacting with the world of dreams. The second pillar is emotions, which guide the character's evolution. Each emotion can influence and modify the bubble concepts, making them grow or even, quote-unquote, burst. The roleplay of emotions plays a fundamental role in the game, and the nightmares feed on them. And the third pillar is interpretation, which is standard when it comes to, rules are to facilitate storytelling kind of thing. but characters are defined by 6 characteristics divided between human and oneric. The human ones are knowledge, empathy, and know-how, while the oneric ones are morphing, somnum, and connexio. Morphing is the ability to act in the dream world, and to manipulate the essence of dreams to create and modify objects. Somnium is the ability to travel between dream bubbles and interact with the story of the dream and dream characters. And Connexio is the ability to connect and interact with the minds of dreamers and dreamwalkers. Each characteristic is associated with a die that will be used to perform any test. So, much like Savage Worlds, you have it where the die size is your main stat, instead of just a modifier.
Oh, neat.
And when it comes to tests, which is the equivalent of a check, the GM chooses the most appropriate characteristic and sets a difficulty, expressed in D6. 1d6 for simple tasks, 2d6 for difficult tasks, 3d6 for very difficult tasks, and so on. And then rolls those dice to determine the value to beat. The player rolls the die tied to the required characteristic, adding any bonuses, and you have to beat the difficulty value. So this is a roll high system, but one where the target number is not set.
It's a suggestion.
Mm-hmm. The target number is essentially a set of D6 rolls.
Right.
Which does mean that there isn't as guaranteed of a success as there might be with a set target number or difficulty class. You're not going to have that case of this is DC 10. I can make this.
Oh, okay, I see it now. All right, so if I rolled 3d6 and I happen to roll all ones, that roll that my players have to roll has to be at least a 3.
Yep.
That's silly. It's like, all right, let's see how difficult this will be. And as long as they don't roll below 3.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
Now, of course, the odds of getting nothing but snake eyes on a 3d6 roll are pretty low.
Watch, I'm about to roll 3d6. I'm going to get all ones.
And in fact, we have a handy-dandy thing called Any Dice that can track probabilities for dice rolls.
Oh my god.
What, 3 ones in a row?
The percentage chance of getting 3 ones in a row is 0.46.
I just rolled 2 ones and a 3.
You need to call an exorcist for your dice.
Oh, it's funny. Oh. And I just rolled 2 6s and a 3 again. Mm-hmm. Oh my god.
Though,
so about 0.5%.
Yeah.
That's funny.
On the other hand, it seems that players are only going to be rolling 1 die.
Oh, okay.
Now, bubble concepts and emotions might modify their result, but they're only getting that 1 die.
Oh, okay.
So in that situation, if you have only a D4 in something, you better hope that the GM rolls nothing but 1s.
Yeah.
But then we have opposed tests, which is self-explanatory. Both sides roll. Whoever gets higher is the successful one in it. But then we have bubble concept and emotions. A character's bubble concepts can provide bonuses to tests when they are exposed, i.e. brought into play during the test, marking them with a tick on the sheet. +1 if a medium bubble is exposed containing a key concept of a character. +2 if a large bubble is exposed containing an important memory of the character. Small bubbles, which which contain traumas, are always considered exposed and provide no bonuses. Nightmares can always see the content of exposed bubbles and can use them to gain a bonus on their own tests. Whereas emotions are managed on the character sheet via a simplified version of the Wheel of Emotions. During the session, the player marks with a token the emotions that the character is feeling, and before a test can decide to bring them into play to alter, i.e. increase or decrease by 1 or 2, the size of the die used in the test. For example, if a character feels anger, indicated with a token, before a test, the player decides to tap into this emotion and confront an opponent with greater intensity. The test would normally require a D8, but thanks to anger, the die size goes up to D10. Stronger emotions can increase or decrease the die size by 2, less intense emotions by 1. If, during the test, you roll the maximum or minimum result on the die, you can choose to add, evolve, or burst the bubble concept on your sheet. On the other hand, nightmares feed on emotions, so the more emotions that are used in play, the stronger the nightmares become. Each time a player increases or decreases their character's emotions, a point is added to a special pool. This pool can be used by nightmares to empower their own tests, increasing the die size they use. So there's a bit of risk reward to utilizing emotions and why they're referred to as exposed. Especially since, according to the action order, nightmares always act first, then whoever the dreamer that controls the dream, then dream characters, then Dreamwalkers and other dreamers. The order among them is determined by their subconscious value, which is basically their initiative. And when it comes to combat, melee and ranged attacks in the human world are handled with know-how. Damage is cumulative, 1d6 for light wounds, 2d6 for serious wounds, 3d6 for mortal wounds. The more that a character suffers, the harder it will be to succeed on subsequent tests. In fact, the cumulative damage sets the minimum threshold that must be exceeded to succeed in any subsequent test. In the case of serious or mortal wounds, there will be physical consequences of varying severity up to death. So, if you're fighting in the human world, don't get hit, because that's going to add to the baseline. On the world of dreams, conflicts are resolved with the morphing test. The dream stress accumulated can cause you to wake up, which makes you vulnerable. When an attack succeeds, it inflicts dream stress equal to the result of a subconscious test by whoever controls the dream, plus the attacker's subconscious bonus, minus the target's subconscious defense. Resisting awakening depends on the awakening threshold and the accumulated dream stress. So, essentially, damage is a game of chicken, and the more you take, the more susceptible you are to bad things.
Right.
But when awakening threshold drops to 0 or drops below the amount of dream stress, you wake up. Now, a character's subconscious is the measure of their oniric state and always starts at 1. The subconscious score is fully controlled by the player, who can choose at any time to increase it up to 10, but it can never decrease. This influences control of the dream, degree of lucidity, your role in the dream's plot, and vulnerability to oniric attacks. Like with degree of lucidity, as long as it's below 8, you are lucid, i.e. aware you're in a dream. If it's below 4, you will not have a role in the dream story. At 4 and above, the dream will assign you an active role.
Oh.
And The higher the value of subconscious, the greater vulnerable you are to projection into the subconscious. And when determining damage in oniric combat, a subconscious test is performed. This is a roll of 1d10, comparing it to your subconscious value. If the test succeeds if the roll is less than or equal to the subconscious value. If it's exactly equal, it's a perfect success and the roll opens up, i.e. exploding die. To project into a dreamer's subconscious, that is, to trigger an oniric subconscious reaction that affects the dream's plot, you have to win a Connexio contest, which is going to be a contested roll. When a nightmare projects into the subconscious, it will also cause dream stress equal to the result of a subconscious test of the target. In addition to other effects, automatic anchoring of the target, causing fear or terror in the target, and +1 to the dream's corruption, i.e. the nightmare influencing the dreamer. All tests related to the dreamer are performed by the master rolling 3d6, while for main dream characters 2d6 are rolled, and for minor ones 1d6. And when it comes to nightmares, as mentioned before, they always act first and can attack with either morphing or by projecting into the subconscious, depending on type. Dreams can also become corrupted via a corruption threshold, which measures how much the dream has been infested by nightmares. At the beginning of a dream, this threshold always starts at 1. So corruption threshold you could kind of see as the nightmares version of subconscious. And after that, it goes into the introductory adventure. Essentially the trial and all the things involved with it. But as mentioned, we will not be covering that.
Right.
So instead, I'm skipping all the way to the Part 5 NPC glossary, which kind of shows a few examples on how sheets are going to work.
Right.
You have the dreamer and her particular stat, as well as the different bubbles, whether it be small, medium, or large. Her particular dream power being summon nightmares.
Oh.
And then we have a standard NPC Dreamwalker, as well as a bit of a refresher on some of the key terms. But that more, and right at the back end, we have a few example character sheets, where it kind of shows the emotional wheel as well. And as mentioned, your core stats are very much tied to die sizes. We also have a nice little track for subconscious as well as oniric stress. And I would imagine they didn't go into it, but imagine Essence is going to be your XP system. I'm curious if it's going to be a XP as currency approach, but That's something I'll probably find out once I get more info on how the game is going to work.
Right.
And obviously on the second page, you have a bunch of the bubbles, as mentioned before, in the 3 different sizes.
I won't lie, some of these bubbles are a little amusing.
Mm-hmm.
This one here just says parkour.
Parkour!
Yep.
I mean, one of them just says draw.
Oh, this one says clowny phobia.
Yeah. Well, as mentioned,
It's a translation.
there is definitely that, and the bubbles are essentially prompts, ones that can be a double-edged sword.
Right.
Somebody forgot to translate some of the character sheets.
Yep, I saw it. I saw it for the blonde lady's pages. Yes. Tristeza.
Mm-hmm.
I totally know what that means.
Yep. But
Power, she can speak Italian.
Oh my god, she speaks like they do.
Wow, I'm this Italian woman. Suddenly I can read this page.
yeah.
Get away from me, you red-nosed paint-wearing bastards.
But
Don't you wanna have fun? Honk honk.
Yep. Yeah. But overall, I realized that there wasn't a lot in the Quickstart compared to what we got with Prequel, which was a full thing. But
yeah, that did kind of feel pretty quick.
Yeah,
now I think about it.
But based on what we saw here, what do you guys think of Dreamwalkers?
It's interesting. My interest has been piqued.
Yeah.
Definitely something I wouldn't mind trying out one of these days.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely a lot less. This is definitely more on the TTRPG side, aside from the former that we went over today. That one's more like a more interactive kind of board game, where this feels more like actual.
I'd say Prequel is
role-playing game.
Is akin to a story game.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I think the I think the only the only question that I would have on it is we saw some nods to Dream Powers, but I'm not quite sure how that's going to work in the context of character creation and advancement.
Well, hopefully, once it's out of the pre-alpha beta, they'll expand more upon it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I did back the game on Kickstarter. I will disclose that. And time zones willing, I'm hoping at some point I get to talk with Luca De Marini on the matter. I did tell him in advance I was going to be covering the game, but I think when it comes to Dream Powers and advancement, that's really the only question that I have. Everything else is pretty straightforward, and this is definitely a abstract kind of game.
Yeah, because
the whole thing has a very abstract feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
I got a feeling as far as powers go, like I said earlier, you're only held back by by your own imagination.
Mm-hmm.
So like I have a feeling probably most of the powers you do will either be in reference to already existing like things to like say, okay, I'm in my dreamscape. All right, and I cast fucking scorching ray from my hand, and it's like, okay, as far as damagings go, with all the rules at hand, it's like, okay, your character can shoot the scorching ray spell because your character played D&D, so with dream rules apply and anything kind of goes, and we pretty much make up on the fly. I'll say do a couple d6 of damage, divvied up to the amount of targets, and it's really my point being, like, it's really going to be, it feels like it's going to be a whole thing of we make the rules as we go. Because like, other than that, it's like, all right, my power is run super fast like Sonic the Hedgehog, and go from there.
Yeah, and we do kind of have the implication of that with things like morphing, which is meant to be the active use of the dream world.
Unless the dream world ends up having its own unique rules to it, more than what we were just looking at. Where it's dreams are what you make of it, but there are rules to it, so there is limitation. Because it's either going to be, there either are going to be some limits, or it'll be limitless.
Yeah. Though there are on the Kickstarter itself, they do note that there's two main types of nightmares. There's inner nightmares, which are born from the dreamer's own fears and trauma, and ancient nightmares, which are either corrupted primogens or nightmares that were forged by Incubus.
Right.
So essentially, the monster of the week and the big
bads.
Yeah. There seemed to be an implication that ancient nightmares are akin to Nemesis in Resident Evil 3, where you are not supposed to be fighting it head on for a good amount of it.
Yeah. They're an ever-present power that will fuck with you for most of the way through until you have the resources to actually fight back.
Oh yeah.
It's like a whole tiered system. The normal nightmares, the ancients, and then Mr. Incubus at the tip top.
But I'd say for people who prefer a more narrative experience, this is going to be an easy get for them. For people who prefer the more tactical experience, I would hesitate to recommend Dreamwalkers from what I see here.
Yeah, this really is truly the most make-believe game that could be a make-believe game.
Yeah.
But with some controlled chaos. So if you're looking to play D&D, folks, or in a similar fashion with this, no. You're probably going to be disappointed.
Now,
this is definitely a role player's game.
Yeah. I'd say if you're a fan of, say, Alundra or Inception, this would be closer to the mark for you.
Yes.
Or more recently, Kamen Rider Zets.
Shit, which one was that?
That's the one that just started 2 weeks ago.
Oh, then I have no idea.
And I bring up that one because it's all about fighting nightmares while infiltrating dreams.
Oh. Cool.
And, well, lucid dreaming
I've
is...
never seen Kamen Rider.
I have severe limited knowledge of Kamen Rider.
And
I've only watched a handful of episodes.
Yeah. I have seen pretty much every season that's come out. the only ones that I haven't seen as much is a lot of the stuff from the Showa era, just because some of it hasn't been properly translated.
Oh.
Or fan translated for that matter. But all of the stuff from the Heisei and Reiwa era I've seen. And the 90s movies, which is referred to as the Dark Age. But that's a whole other story. But I'd say this was a strong start to this new era of the Valley of the Judged on Thursdays, kind of showing that the assumptions that one might usually make about TTRPGs are not going to be as applicable here. Since the two games we covered today are very atypical to that assumption.
Yeah, they're very much in their own bubble of playstyle.
Yeah, I see what you did there.
And that will continue with the next season proper, which is going to be Kamigakari. We'll be starting that one next week.
Sweet.
I do have the schedule set up for that one, and it will be an interesting beast, including some of the one of the one shots I have to move because we ended up covering Dreamwalkers, so I need to redo that. Whoops.
Ruh-roh.
I'll just spin the wheel again.
Yeah, fuck it. We love spinning wheels here.
On the other hand, there was one quick start that dropped today that I might put in there, but that is a story for another night. So I will be back here tomorrow with the Friday edition of the Valley, covering the Fury class for Draw Steel, which it's been fun covering the classes in that. We're finally out of covering the casters, at least for a while, and getting into its version of the Barbarian. But if the previous cases are any indication, making that comparison is not going to be as apt by the time I'm done. So we will see how that plays out. But until then, on behalf of the good brothers present and not present, my name is Mildra. I am your gaming monk. Stay fucking frosty, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Good night.
Thank you. It's